Hello, I'm Victoria, and you're watching Taking Off the Hat. If you don't know, this is a new docuseries that is going to start, where we are going to get behind the scenes of each coach.
Football was way more than just a sport to me. It was a way for us to escape.
You know, I got one focus, and that's just focusing on getting better.
Today we are here with Head Coach Toriano Morgan. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So just to give y'all a little background of who Coach Toriano Morgan is, he began his coaching career in 2002 at Tennessee State University as a graduate assistant. That's where he also played and graduated from. He was a head coach at Hilliard High School. He also did Broward County Athletic Association and the Public versus Private All-Star. He was also the head coach and offensive coordinator for Virginia Union University and then Virginia State University. He joined Edward Waters University in 2021. So when you first joined in 2021, you were at NAIA school and then later became NCAA.
Correct.
How was your upbringing?
My upbringing was really, I have no complaints. My mother was a teacher, an educator, assistant principal for over 35 years, so education has always been at the forefront of my upbringing. My father was very, active and present in molding me as a man. My upbringing, we still talk at least once or twice a day, quite often, and he still gives me advice. He was my first football coach, so we always had, that connection. So, big kudos to them. It was a big deal for me when I was named the head coach here at the press conference. They were able to be present, so that meant a lot. So that's kind of my upbringing.
Okay, so you also mentioned that they were there for when you was named as head coach. So how did you feel when you found out you were selected as the head coach for Edward Waters University?
I was elated. It was a goal that I had set, and not only was I able to kind of watch Edward Waters from afar and see the trajectory in which they were traveling, but its location was able to get me back to the state of Florida, and I know that this is a very, very talented, fertile area for recruiting. So I understood that this would be a great opportunity to be able to take this program, turn it around, and eventually turn it into a national powerhouse.
If you weren't coaching football, where do you think you would be at today?
If I wasn't coaching football, that's a great question. I would probably be some type of high-powered attorney, somewhere working, of course, in the sports field, maybe a sports agent, maybe as for one of the conferences here. But I think I would be attached to sports in some realm, but also from a legal standpoint. I think, a lawyer was kind of my second calling.
Okay. When did you find your passion for football and decided that you wanted to be a coach for football?
The day I was born. I can't remember a day in my life without football. I've been an avid football fan. Started playing football at the age of 5, played all the way through college. And then at that point, to answer your question, when did I know I wanted to be a coach? Probably towards the final sector of my college career. I had 2 coaches there that were very influential in what I wanted to do as far as studying offenses and wanting to be able to put the best offense on the field in the country, and then learning from my head coach, Coach L.C. Cole, how to manage a program, recruit, and take a program. We were 2-7, I think, when he got there, and then we ended up winning 2 championships back to back. And so from that point on, we were the only team to ever be ranked number 1 in the entire country, not just HBCUs, but there we went on a 29-game win streak there. So it was very, very, that was a very influential time as far as me now knowing after graduation what it was I wanted to do.
We were talking about coaching, we were talking about your upbringing. I'm a foodie, so what is your favorite meal?
My favorite meal is chicken cooked any kind of way. If I had to pick a particular kind, jerk or curry chicken, two of my favorites. Of course, macaroni and cheese. If you know what you're doing when you make it.
You gotta know what you're doing.
Know what you're doing.
You gotta know
I know what you're doing. Onions don't go in macaroni and cheese.
But it can't be boxed.
But macaroni and cheese, and I guess from a beef standpoint, a good steak every now and then.
Okay. So I hope you don't mind if we get just a little bit personal. You know, just a few years ago, you faced a very tough tragedy. Do you mind talking about that?
Yes. My first year here, 2021, I lost 2 sisters in a matter of 3 weeks. I still remember getting both the phone calls during to the moment. My first sister, which was our middle child, well, not our middle child, but she was the middle sibling. It was the day after I had just won our first SIAC game ever against Morehouse, and we were still in that celebratory state. And then my father called me that Sunday, and you know, I could hear something in his voice that something wasn't right, and that's when he broke the news there. And then we moved forward 2 more weeks, 3 weeks at the most, right after homecoming. We're celebrating on the field, winning homecoming, and my wife gets a call from my niece, and I could kind of see on her face something wasn't right. And she held a good poker face until, you know, we got home, and my mother and father were actually here. So that's when, you know, she put us through to her niece, and you know, she explained to us what was going on, and then she ended up passing away. So that was a very, very emotional time. It taught me a lot about myself, but it also taught me the fact that I had made the right decision coming here to Edward Waters. The team, the coaching staff, the administration, just the employees, everybody was so supportive of me in that moment, checking on me, just making sure I was okay. So that kind of just took it from here to there, because it was genuine. And then when you know you have people that truly care about you, I'm the type of person, I'll go to the end of the world for you.
Well, thank you so much for being willing to talk about that. You mentioned your coaching staff. You know, you have some very unique and dynamic coaches on your staff. They all have a great amount of experience. Let's talk about them. You can talk about them in any order you would like.
All right, so when I put together a coaching staff, I obviously say this, I'm not necessarily looking for the best coach. I'm looking for the best man. So the first thing I wanted to look for were gentlemen that were faithful over their calling, understanding that this is a ministry. You know, they're very family oriented, you know, involved in their family life upbringing, and then that would naturally translate into our program. I wasn't looking for yes men, and that's when you know, we get into our meetings. I might think it's a great idea, but there's a lot of experience in the room as well, so it might sound like a great idea to me, and we take it out there and it's just not working. And sometimes, you know, you might want to force it, but you got to have good individuals that you work with that are not afraid to say, Coach, this is not working here, let's try to do it. So to talk about them individually, our assistant head coach and offensive coordinator, us Coach Brian Jenkins. Coach Brian Jenkins has a wealth of coaching experience. We're from the same area. We went to the same high school. We're coached by the same coaches, so we have that connection there. But he's had a stellar career as a coach, coaching at every level. Former head coach at Bethune-Cookman College in Daytona, where he won. Let me get it right, because if I don't, I know I'll hear about it. 4 national championships, and then I went on to Alabama State, to where he became the head coach there. So it was a great opportunity to work with him, and he's done an amazing job with the offense since we've been here. Next is Coach Addison Hayes. Coach Addison Hayes actually played for me at Virginia Union. He was our center. Then after he graduated, he became my graduate assistant. And then from that point on, he went to become the youngest head coach in the entire state of Virginia. I think at just 23 years old, turning 24 years old. So when I got this opportunity, calling him to be able to come in and assist with the offensive line was really, really good. We got joining us this year, Coach Mike Fanoga. Coach Mike Fanoga and myself had worked together at Virginia Union as well, where I was the offensive coordinator. He was the defensive coordinator, but Coach brings 30 plus years of experience as well. Traveled every conference, every level, was attached to Hal Mummy and the air raid phenomenon that's just continued to expel and expand. So he's seen a lot of offense, he's played a lot of defenses, so his wealth of experience, knowledge, and able to connect with the young men here has been pivotal since he's been here. Coach Ronnie Mason joined us this year as well at the defensive line. Coach Mason is a bright, up-and-coming young coach. He's the energy out there on the field. He gets after it. I'm not going to say much, but you see the production. This year, he was able to garner 2 all-conference defensive linemen in just his first year. One of them actually just went off to play into the Legacy Bowl, so he's truly had an impact. Our special teams coordinator and defensive back coach, Coach Alex Collier. Coach Alex Collier, now he is the energy of the entire coaching staff. He, what you see, how he is how he is. It's on 10 every day. But the kids, the young men, they definitely respond to it. And they know, when you're with him and his segment, there's going to be a lot of energy. And then there's Coach Spencer Carter. Spencer Carter actually finished his career here as running back. And then he moved into a graduate assistant role just this past season, going into his second year now. He'll be graduating pretty soon here, I think this upcoming fall. And he did a great job with the running backs. And then there's legendary Coach John Williams. Coach John Williams is our kicking coach. And Coach Williams was actually the first African-American kicker in the SEC and at the University of Florida. So we're blessed to be able to have him working hands-on with our kickers on a daily basis. So that's the dynamic staff that we have. Really proud of the work that these guys have done, these gentlemen, the time they put in, and I still know that the best is yet to come as far as us as a staff.
Of course. So you mentioned that Coach Hayes was also a former player, and then he also later became the youngest head coach. How did that feel as a coach when you heard that news?
I was excited. Even as a player, when he played, Coach Hayes, Coach Hayes, he was Addison then, Addy then, but he was smart. He really was able to help me develop the offense and take it to the next level. We had a system to where we didn't necessarily have to do as much verbiage-wise as a lot of other teams. And a lot of teams, when we would explain it, would say, well, how do you do that? It's because our center is as smart as any of the coaches here. So he gets us in the right protection, out of bad protections, and we just send the play in and he sorts it out and he gets it done. So intellectually, as an offensive mind, it was always there and always evident. Then after he graduated, he became a graduate assistant. And one thing we did was we put him on the other side of the ball as a defensive line graduate assistant. I think his second year there. And that was just so he could get experience on both sides of the ball. And I think that helped to propel him to his next venture, applying to be the head coach at Huguenot High School in Richmond, Virginia, and ultimately getting it.
Okay. This past season, you had a wonderful football season. How did this season, being that y'all broke any records from, years ago, how did this feel to have seen the growth that y'all have made?
Well, it's really good to see the maturation of this team. They went from learning how to win to winning, and now we're at a point where they expect to win. And I think each one of those phases entails a different type of work ethic. And as you saw that work ethic get better, you saw the results start to swing in our direction. So we love what we did, but then at the same time we have to look at it from a true standpoint. That 6-4 easily should have been 8-2, 9-1.
Yes.
So those are the things that we have to make sure that we harp on now, so we're reaching our full potential. We can't just take the 6-4 and say we've arrived, because we still got a long way to go. And I think these young men have gotten a taste of what success could possibly feel like. I always tell them success is not a destination. It's an ever work in progress. So they got to continue to work to be successful. And then at the end, we look back at what we've accomplished at the end of your tenure, and then that's when we celebrate what's been accomplished.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Coach Morgan, for allowing me to interview today. Make sure you stay up to date on Taking Off the Hat, and we do have another episode coming out.